Hello and a very warm welcome to this evening's online talk. My name is Ruth and I'm speaking to you from Manchester in a Space in England. And it's our great pleasure to welcome a very special guest tonight for our topic, Dancing with Our Shadows. Sister Dr. Jenna is a very acclaimed, trusted spiritual mentor, and she is committed and has been for many, many years to bridging divides in societies, building relationships between global influencers, and she's well placed in Washington to meet with many great minds. She's the founder and director of the Brahmakumari's Meditation Museum, which is located in Washington, DC. And she's the host of a very popular radio program, American Meditating Radio Show. She's the recipient of the President's Lifetime National Community Service Award and a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, a group of thought leaders from diverse disciplines in service to conscious evolution. In 2020, she was selected by Empower a Billion Women 2020 as one of 100 most influential leaders of 2015. So
Here, Ruth. We could stop here. I mean, we're friends and we just want to get together and share about our shadows. Everybody, Ruth is my buddy from many, many years. And I know all of these accolades that she's talking about just proves how busy I keep myself. But in all reality, I'm just really, 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 really happy to be with you today, Ruth, and your incredible group of friends and folks that you've brought together. So just thank you.
Well, thank you. And just to say how lovely, if you can help us with methods to face our light and leave our shadows behind and dance with them if we can't leave them behind.
You know what? If I had gotten rid of all of my shadows, I would not be here. I mean, it's not easy, but it's an opportunity. You know, last year, I think it was actually not last year. Last year, I recovered from my health opportunity, but the year before that, I had a really, really serious illness. And even though that seriousness of the illness was upon me, I remembered how it brought me into such deep resources in the soul that it was one of my greatest gifts, that I was able to tap into parts of me that I didn't even know existed. So shadows are good when they come, and shadows are good if you can face them. But we'll talk today about not ever running away from those shadows, because that's when they grow and increase. So thank you for inviting me on, and thank you for starting the year out on this note. And let's see how it goes. Om Shanti, everyone. Happy, happy New Year to you and yours. And hopefully you started the year off like I have. I'm juicing, I'm exercising, and I'm definitely keeping my spirits in a very unique condition. And I think it's important not to say that I wasn't the year before, but those shadows have a way of becoming very comfortable with you. And if you think, or if you listen to those thoughts, if you listen to them, you know what to do. But sometimes you are challenged by the strength to do it. But never give up on that one thought that's going to break you through. Like I did a few days ago when I decided I'm going to start juicing again. I'm going to exercise every morning and every night. And I'm going to start to keep my mind even in a more higher stage than it was the year before. So before we get into our time together and you offer me your 45 minutes of your life or 50 minutes of your life, it's important to me that it's of great value and great intent. So may I invite you to just settle into yourself and feel that the next few minutes will be really important for all of us to evolve together as a community of friends and family on a Zoom, on Facebook, wherever we might be meeting right now. So before we get started, why don't we just play one of my favorite meditations that invite us to let go of these shadows by lieu of thinking in our meditations and observing how it would feel for me if I just wasn't walking with that energy anymore, the limitations. So let's take a deep breath and let's go into a little meditation together. And when we come back, we will dive deeper into our time. Om Shanti. The time that we choose to be aware doesn't necessarily require me to just sit and meditate. But even while I walk and move around, I can be in a meditative awareness, which is awareness of the soul, the original, eternal, imperishable being of light. For a little while, I'd like to invite you to be present, to be here, and to be now. Allow your mind to settle in the moment, to relax. This meditation is about awareness. It's about becoming aware of your original and eternal self. It's about connecting to your truth. Let go of your name. And observe yourself feeling nameless. Let go of your gender to discontinue thinking you're a man or a woman. Let it go and observe how you would feel walking around without a gender. Let go of the role that you play and let go of the titles that you own. Observe how you're feeling as you are gradually letting go. Let go of your religion and put it aside just for now. And let go of your nationality and even the language that you're accustomed to. Imagine you have no name, gender, role, title, religion, nationality, or even a language. Ask yourself, how do you feel at this moment? And in this feeling, who would think of you and who would you think of? The Supreme Soul would think of you, and you, the liberated soul, would think of the Supreme. in this state of absolute freedom. I am truly who I am. A free, peaceful, pure, immortal, and eternal soul. Allow yourself to just be absorbed in this awareness. At this time. Let's just continue to hold this moment of inner stillness and awareness. I'm so glad that we were able to start our time together with the meditation on letting go. And while I was in the meditation, I was thinking about the thoughts that I wanted to share with you. And I wanted to start with where I am in my journey, and what I've been processing and going through. And despite my many years on the journey of spirituality, there's always another layer. There's always another dimension within you that needs attention and care. And it's no secret, but for the past few months, especially in the last 8 months, I've had the wonderful fortune of being a caregiver to an instrument of the Brahma Kumaris, who happened to be also my mother, who has been one of the best teachers, who was a friend, and who was a business partner, and losing all of that to her dementia and having to take care of her as best as I could. And can I tell you, I'm so surprised at some of the behavior that comes out of me, despite her behaviors. So she doesn't think straight anymore. She doesn't do anything right anymore. And she does keep her link to source. She always remembers this energy of God that she calls Baba, which is so beautiful. But even in her presence, you can see the energy of divinity and the energy of purity and beauty in her. And then there's this other side, the side that has an illness called dementia, where she doesn't know how to go to the bathroom properly, get dressed, do her hair, remember any of us. And I find that so fascinating. For there to be a person that has this incredible presence of beauty and grace and light. And then there's this other side that is just jumbled up with a whole bunch of emotions or different experiences. I thank the destiny and the universe and God every day that she has a very good personality, because I don't know what I'd do if she was one of these beating up, screaming, kicking types. I know I'd have to deal with it, but I don't know how I would handle it. Needless to say, let me tell you, as much as I've lost so many relationships in this one person, I have seen a different part of me that I'd never seen before. I didn't know I had those elements of shadows in me. There was one day that she was just, trying to break down the door to get into the kitchen, sweetly, by the way. And she was just trying to go at it. And I was in like 100 meetings that day. The family was also in a little bit of a, anxiety, because we were trying to juggle taking care of her, dealing with me, dealing with that. And I have to tell you, there was a thought that entered my mind that I could not believe. And the thought was like, oh my gosh, just get this away from me. I could live without this energy. And when I caught myself, I was like, whoa, is that really you? And I could tell you a million other stories after that. Energies coming up in my personality of frustration, anger, vulnerability, confusion, and watching myself going through these emotions while at the same time seeing my power, dignity, and ability and spiritual presence. It's incredible. Do you remember when we were little kids and we would walk down the road or on the sidewalk and the sun was shining and we could actually see our shadow depending on where the sun was stationed? It's like either it was behind me or it was this way. I could see it in another direction. It fascinates me that you and I can have so much divinity and beauty and power in our personality. And then there's that. And then there's that. There's that stuff that you just don't know what to do with. You know, in the teachings that I've been raised in of the Brahma Kumaris, and I love the tradition. It has done so much for me. But the teachings in which I've learned that the energy of the soul is carrying the memories. The energy of the soul is carrying all the memories of this lifetime or the many lifetimes that the soul has incarnated in various forms in terms of roles that it has played. And when I learned that I was a soul and that I am a soul, the journey started there to see how I could start to practice dancing with these shadows that I had become so close with. These shadows became my best friends, and I even gave them a name called algae. A for anger, L for lust, G for greed, A for attachment, and E for ego. And where once upon a time, they just seemed like the norm. Like they just seemed like, well, this is me. What's your problem? I look around the whole world and I don't see anyone seems that different. Everybody seems to have some element of algae in them. What I had not known is that every challenge that I've ever been through was caused by algae, the shadows. And when I started to learn and go deeper into the study of soul consciousness, I started to really encounter so many layers in which this algae had taken up space in my beautiful, tiny, and powerful soul. And I would just be so curious or so concerned, maybe all of it, like, how can someone who knows not to touch the fire anyway and get burned? How many times have you found yourself in a relationship that you know it's not good for you? You know all the red flags are there, but the better part of you just, for whatever reason, will not rise to the call to say, it's time for me to step back from here. The shadow wins again. The algae comes forward and it wins again. And every time I've found the soul, in a challenging situation where I can't feel peace, I can't feel love, I can't feel my purity, my happiness, or my truth, I know they're my shadows. That the shadows are existing, that the algae is influencing my thinking. Let's say you're in a situation, or let's say it's your spouse, and you've developed an attachment to the limitations of your spouse. So now when you talk to your spouse, You speak with a little bit of irritation or anger because unknown to you, the shadow has been traveling with you throughout this marriage. And you have zoned into what his or her weakness has been over a long period of time. And you have been trying to find a relationship based on your attachment to the way they eat, the way they talk, the way they walk, the things that they do. And you don't know why you don't feel compatible to your spouse, or you don't know why you're not able to harmonize even though you're both different, or you don't know why you just can't love them anymore. It's because of the shadow. It's because of the algae. It's that element of the attachment to a limitation that we've gotten so used to that is influencing the way I see you and even the way I see myself. Now let's flip a coin and turn it around. What if I can recognize that my spouse has a limit? But instead of coming from attachment, I choose to come from the place where my dancing can happen, my joy can happen, my truth can happen. And I come from the opposite of what attachment would be, which would be love. And I can love my way through his or her limits. What do you think the result of the relationship would be like? Somehow you would feel like you can walk in your own corners or be on your own 2 feet, still somehow valuing each other despite whatever your limits are. If you haven't tried it, try it for this year, where you transform looking at that person in your life from a place of what's wrong with them to what's right with them. And how can I use the energy of soul, conscious love to see into this person so that I can stop making this relationship be such an obstacle or such a bondage or such a detriment to my happiness. Today in our morning class, there was something so powerful in our teachings. It said there has to come a point of time in your life where you break attachment to people who are attached to sorrow. Can you believe that? There has to come a point of time in your life where you break your attachment from people who are attached to their suffering and sorrow. And imagine when 2 people come together in union or in a business deal or in the workplace or in a party or with a friendship or on a Zoom session. And then they have to share their thoughts and their energies and their ideas with each other. If both are coming from the attachment to sorrow, can you imagine what would actually come out of that? Not much. Sorrow meeting sorrow. Disappointment meeting disappointment. And I know sometimes it gets so frustrating feeling that you're always maybe the only person that has to take the high road. I was speaking to a mother today. She was so adorable. She said to me, why is it that I am the one that has to always be the one that takes the high road? And I said, because that's your fortune and that's your responsibility. And I was giving the example in class today about we used to go to Miami, Florida. Oh, how I would love to be at the beach right now. We're covered in snow here in Washington, D.C. But we used to just hop into the RV and drive up to Miami Beach. And we had this place in Miami, Florida. And myself and the co-driver were always awake. And then everybody else in the back of the RV was sleeping. And I remember this morning talking to myself and having my heart-to-heart conversation with God, who I call Baba as my term of affection to God, is, am I close to my destination? And in asking God that simple question, if I was close to my destination, he was able to show me how I was close to my destination had everything to do with how much I am no longer feeding my shadows. And how, when you are getting closer to your destination, there are two kinds of people that are on the journey. Those that will sleep their way to the destination, or those who feel a sense of responsibility and maturity, knowing that they're carrying everybody with them. And for a mother or father, for example, sometimes you're the one that has to do it. And never think that you're alone doing it. I know I've been there myself where I feel like I'm the one, the caboose on the train, like taking everybody else. Couldn't be more ignorant. None of us are alone in anything that we're going through. We are actually in company with so many others who are feeling similar experiences with us. But if we could just talk them through, they won't seem that heavy. As we navigate during these times, they're so uncertain. Nobody really knows what's going to give. Like every day, there's just the same routine, or depending on where your life is or how you've been living your life. Are you still in service to the betterment of humanity, or are you trying to find service, or are you absolutely frustrated with your life, or are you surfing the internet and looking at how it seems like everyone's life is great and your life is like nothing? Where are you inside during this time? This is the age and the period of time for you and me to begin to travel inwardly, to be on this journey of spiritual recognition and spiritual power and spiritual light. Because where once upon a time, 50, 100, 2,000 years ago, survival was to put bread and milk on the table. My apologies to all the vegans out there. But when your survival was to be able to have food and shelter for your life, now when you look at your life, survival just isn't about bread and butter anymore. It's about your spiritual empowerment. The kind of inner strength that we need right now to deal with our spouses, our children, our in-laws, our jobs, our communities, our society, our world, our environment is no joke. And in order for you to be able to build your spiritual empowerment, you've got to pay attention to those thoughts. And you've got to be so honest about them. Have you ever tried to point something out to someone and you can just see from their eyes, they're not receiving any of the directions or the ideas that you're offering? Have you ever been in a position where somebody who loves and cares for you has pointed out something that you need to pay attention to and you're just not present? What's that block? It's when the shadows, the algae has taken such root, just doesn't allow you to enjoy the freedom of soul conscious awareness. So while I've been on this journey dealing with Mother and my teacher and instrument and best friend, she's become my greatest teacher because I have recognized things in me I never knew. I never knew they were even sitting there. I never knew that they were still being fed somewhere deep into the crevice of the soul. So anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego, these are your shadows. Do you want to keep them? Have you ever had leftover food left on the table for a week? Would you eat it? Would you go into the garbage and take food out and eat it? Algae is all of this leftover waste karma and emotions and feelings that actually we should now get rid of. And so when we look at how do I dance with my shadows, I actually have now realized these are some of the steps that I've taken. One, I keep checking how I'm feeling as a result of these thoughts, the word that I've chosen to speak, or the action that I've performed. It's leaving an impact on the way that I'm feeling. And I check, is this feeding algae for me? Or am I empowering myself and living from soul conscious ability? Number two, when I have done the checking and I've able to recognize what I'm feeding, my second thing that I do is I change. I go, wait, this is not where I want to go. This just isn't what I want to feed. And even though the energy of algae or the shadow is so strong, maybe even at that time, the fact that I've still offered myself the dignity and the time to at least address this issue and to be honest with it and to say to my soul, I want to change this. It goes recorded in me. If I'm not able to change exactly at that moment, the fact that I've told myself I want to change, I will change. Might not be right then and there, but maybe in an hour, maybe in a week, maybe in 6 months, maybe within the next 5 years. But the fact that I'm aware that this has to change in me, then I will. Then the third thing that I would do is to act from the place that is not of the shadow or the algae, and to observe for myself how it actually feels for me, like what it feels like to actually think, speak, or act without the influence of the shadow or the algae in me. Give it a try, and I'll give you an example of what it looks like. I use this example a lot. If you've ever been to the Ritz-Carlton or one of these high-rise hotels, or even in an apartment building, there are a lot of apartment buildings out there. Just for example, if you enter the lobby, you can smell the smells, hear the sounds, look at all these faces, noise, everything is all around. Even if you go down to the basement, you can see the feet. Maybe it's a little, different. You see a little peep window. You see the car tires, the trucks, if you're looking through the window. If you come back up to the lobby, it feels a little nicer. There are more people, there's more action. But many of us are functioning our lives just from a lobby consciousness, and I'll explain why in a bit. Imagine yourself going into the elevator and pressing the button to the penthouse. And as that elevator takes you up, and you go all the way up, and the door opens, and you've entered your penthouse condo, and you go on the veranda, and you look outside, the smell is different, the view is different, the sound is different, and you can see everything from a much broader perspective. It's very different. When I live still with my shadow or my algae influencing me, I've completely come down to the lobby or to the basement. When I decide to transform anger, lust, greed, attachment, ego into peace, purity, truth, joy, and power, then it's like I've gone up to the top level of my life. And I see my life and the world around me from a completely different point of view. So I ask you, What would you prefer? And as I'm navigating this situation, relationship with my mom, I keep saying, I prefer to be a nice person. I prefer to be peaceful and loving and kind. And I know that wherever there is love, it has to heal and cure someone's spirit. Whatever it is that they're going through, that energy of love has to cure that soul. So won't the energy of love from the divine cure your shadows? If I am not connected and rooted to an interpretation or an energy that is stronger than my lobby-based thinking or my basement thinking, how in the world am I going to understand the value of why the soul is in the body living? When I acquired my awakening of the energy of God, who I call Baba, it was like I know air exists, but the only time I became aware that it didn't was when I couldn't breathe. And then I was starting to value the importance of air. India and countries around the world have been grappling with this virus that just won't end. And one of the things that many, many patients needed was oxygen. And that oxygen was helping their lungs. And when they weren't getting that oxygen, they then understood the value of air, of oxygen that would give them life. And I think that if we can begin to invite more the oxygen and the energy and the air of a remembrance of the divine, of the remembrance of God, the remembrance of the beauty of God's energy and light and divinity into our system. Wow. The emotional health, the mental health, the physical health, the financial health, the relationship health would be unlimited. It's like I feel like the missing link of this particular period that we're in is that as challenging as things are getting, some of us are still just trying to run to a person, place, or thing to heal or to serve the invisible world behind their eyes. Like air is like invisible. But when you don't have it, it becomes very visible because you start to feel like you can't breathe and you need life. When algae increases so much in our nature that we are more focused on spending time watching the news and listening and watching things that are wasteful and negative and dark energy, so to speak, shadow energy. When we keep feeding into the shadow energy, it means I'm still feeding my own shadow energy. And I'm suffocating. And there, Baba's light and Baba's powers and Baba's might is there. And he just wants to take me to the penthouse. And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. The lobby's what I'm used to. And in somehow, some way, you kind of have to find your way through it. You have to lean into the shadow and stop running from it because it only increases in power over you. So here are my closing sharing remarks. Question: do you want the rest of the year to be a year void of feeling God's companionship and God's company traveling with you on your journey? Do you want to feel like you are alone, even though there are a tribe of people maybe going through the same things that you're going through? But if nobody's connected to the source of the solution or the power, then it's still going to be chaos, isn't it? Ask yourself, talk to God today and ask Him, what is the potential that you see in me that you need me to see? And by you being able to listen and hear the subtle, quiet, pure thoughts that are signaling to you how great you are, how much capacity you have in you. When you can hear them, then you'll start to see them, and you will only become what you see in your head. So if you see yourself evolving into an instrument of peace, into an angel, a deity, into a soul that does service for all the greater of humanity, then you will become it. Sometimes the shadow will push you, but don't you ever forget that your vision is always going to pull you. So be pushed by your shadow and feel like you're being beaten up, squashed, pushed down, or turn your attention around the other way and look at your vision and see what God's light is trying to show you that you are. And that requires introspection, journaling, quietude, good company, good food, and experimenting with something new and something different so that your energy can change up a little bit and shift up a little bit. So, as I've taken enough of your time to share with you some of the things from my heart to yours, invite the energy of the divine into your heart more. I can't begin to tell you any further how important that connection and relationship is. The energy of the divine will soften your pains, your fears, your sorrows, your disappointments, your sense of loss. And as a result of you, the soul, connecting to God, to Baba, to the energy of the Supreme, it's like being back on the penthouse and living your life from that quality of existence versus being caught up on the ground level with all the stuff that goes on around you every day. It's really your time to choose how you'd like to be. It might be difficult, you think it is, but if you take one step of courage, I guarantee you this, the energy of the divine will be there 1,000,000-fold to help you. So take your one step of courage and lean into whatever limits there might be, and know that you're worth that leaning into. I'll leave you with one other story I remember. It just popped up in my head. It's a house that's burning, right? It's your house, it's burning, and you don't want to run into the fire. The fire is the anger, the lust, the greed, the attachment, and the ego. But once you run in, there's something in the house that you want to save. Maybe it's a loved one, maybe it's a pet, maybe it's your money, but it's of great value. Or maybe it's you, it's the beauty of your spirit. And you decide to run into that fire, regardless of whatever it takes. You're going to face that algae, go right into it. And before you know it, there you go. Wow, the diamond, the jewel, the treasure that was worth it. And you come out and you realize you're great, you're fine. Stop running from the shadows, run into them and watch where your jewels and your treasures will be. They'll be right there. They're always just one thought away. So let this be your year of great realizations and just great experiences. So thank you for this time. And I think I'll invite Ruth back on to take us through some thoughts or questions and answers if you have any. If you don't, then that's fine. We could take a moment of silence together. It's up to you. Ruthie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Sister Jenna, and I've been making copious notes. I love the algae and the analogy and the penthouse, and I love that idea of what does it feel like to speak or act without the algae, to go into the experience of the opposite. Instead of what's wrong, what's right about this person. That's lovely.
Yeah.
I would invite anyone to put a message in the chat and send it to the host, please. Don't send it direct to Sister Jenna because I'll be asking the questions. She won't see them. So any questions you have there, and just while we're doing that, I have a question for Sister Jenna because trying to catch up on the years since we last met, I went on the internet and I noticed that Sister Jenna is due to publish a book on the 2nd of February.
Yeah. Isn't that an interesting date? 02/02/2022. When the publishers told me, I was like, wow, did you guys plan that? Yeah, I actually have a book coming out, everyone. Thanks for mentioning it, Ruth. Can I talk a little bit about it?
Yes, please do. I'm interested. I read a little bit on the internet.
Well, when the publisher approached me, I said no. I go, I don't have any time. I don't want to do a book on meditation. I mean, there are a million books out there. I'm not interested. But then she came back and she really urged me, and she said, you could also invite so many of your friends to co-author the book with you. So we have like Jean Houston, Sister Genty, Reverend Stacy Gorforth, Charlie Hogg, Emily Hine, Max Tucci, just to name a few. And ta-da, I just actually got it, Ruth. I just actually got the hard copy. And it's basically a book on everyone who is sharing their call, that mystical experience that you've had, and it changed you forever. Maybe today's talk might change one person today forever and bring you closer to source where you're just in a different frame of mind. And I'll just read one little excerpt from it. And this is the part from A Time to Choose, which is actually at the beginning of the book. It's just a little bit. Just think about it. We are a species that knows how to reinvent ourselves and how to progress. But one need only to look at history to see evidence of how ingenuity has moved us forward. The past few hundred years, for example, brought forth agriculture, industrial, and technological revolutions. But at this early turn of the 21st century, we're in a particular time and industry for self-reflection, introspection, and spiritual searching. The old ways of being and doing aren't going to get us where we are destined to go now. So we must dig deep, and we must catch those genuine jewels of thoughts, and meditation is the most direct route to that insight. That was just a part of the book. Thank you for letting me read some of these parts. I really love it. Yeah, so the book will be released on the 2nd of February of this year, and pre-orders are being taken now on Amazon. It has reached #1 twice already for new release on Amazon Mysticism category. So all the authors and I were very, very happy about that.
Lovely, thank you. A question has just come in. The question is that at times I get very frustrated if a close friend, etc., doesn't reply to my SMS or calls when I've specifically asked for a response to a question. My mind starts a negative dialogue because I have reasonable expectations for the other person to at least reply within a reasonable time frame. What would your comment be to that person?
I hate to say this, but I think your relationship or your friendship with the person is quite limited. And maybe that's why they're not feeling the inspiration to get back to you. If you are looking to connect with them and they're not connecting to you, then maybe they're busy or caught up. If a lot of times when you do connect with them and they're not connecting with you, then that's a signal, that's a sign. Maybe there's a need for some new friends. Maybe there's time for you to explore other avenues of people to spend your time with. And the third, and maybe most importantly, is check why you're having that frustration and that sense of disappointment or angst. That what is it that you feel that they can offer you back that you can't offer yourself? And so when you can turn inwards, you should never, ever let your emotions and feelings be subjected to anyone else's reaction, response, or engagement with you. You are in charge of that. If you are allowing that friend to make you feel happy, then that's not safety for you. I have friends, and there are times when I am not feeling so uppity up. And I'll call my friend and I'll tell them I need a fix. But I'm aware of what I'm saying, and they're aware of where I'm coming from. But it's not that I can call them and I know they're going to respond to me. If you are reaching out to a friend and they're not responding back to you when you need them, I don't think they're really your friends. I think that you can redirect your energy to where true friendship can emerge. And so check yourself. Do not hand over your power to anyone else, that it subjugates you to feeling negative or feeling like that. You are the master of your destiny. The supreme energy is your best friend. If they don't respond to you, make sure that you have the ability to respond to yourself with the grace and dignity that you are. Thanks for the question very much. And expand your friendship. You can never have more than enough friends. I love friends. They mean everything to me. We have another question.
Yes, this is a quickie. The passage that you read from the book, who wrote it?
I did.
You did. Okay, someone had that question. Thank you. Then a question about fear, possibly from two people, certainly one. What to do when fear envelops me? I'm gripped by fear of an upcoming situation because I won't be able to handle it. How to face the light when I can't even sit to meditate because of the strong fear and worry. Someone else mentioned the difficulty sitting still and meditating. So maybe you could take that up.
So when you do feel that fear, embrace it. Tell yourself, I really am scared. And then ask the self, why? And then when you can answer the why, if it says, why I'm scared because I don't want to lose this, because this is going to happen, because this might happen. Okay, it might. But then in your own mind and in your own head, you've got to tell yourself, but what if it doesn't? That's one thing. The other thing, fear is one emotion, I tell you, it's been traveling with us ever since the soul developed a liking to attachment. The moment you started to get attached to a person, a thing, a place, a situation, a circumstance, that attachment started to be fed. And the fear actually basically comes with the vibration, I don't want to lose, or the trauma of what might happen. Now, since we are souls on a journey, and one of the teachings I've loved about the Brahma Kumaris is that the first lesson in their Raj Yoga course is to say, I am a soul. And inside of the soul is a recording of many, many experiences. Maybe the fear that's coming up for you isn't really of your future, but maybe the situation that has come in front of you is a remembrance of something that happened in your past. Maybe you can let it go now. Maybe you don't have to feed that anymore. If you think your fear is a premonition, then that should be like a very smooth vibration that just comes as a vision, comes and leaves. There shouldn't be a fear if it's a premonition. If it's meant to happen, nothing you do can stop it. So the emotion of fear is coming from the level of attachment that you're feeding. And what's the opposite of attachment? It's love. Can I ask you to try this one time, and feel free to send it to Ruthie and everyone at Inner Space. Instead of looking at the situation or the circumstance from the attachment, can you try to look at it with love? If you don't know how to do the love practice, imagine looking at a baby. Love will emerge in you. And then direct the energy to the situation or the circumstance. That is also meditation. Another quick form of meditation before we end. If you feel that too much is going on in your life and you can't meditate, please, I beg of you, start to practice good wishes and pure feelings on people. I'll tell you right now, in this exchange with us on Facebook or on Zoom, any name in there, send them your blessings. Wish them well. From your mind, tell them, I want you to be benefited. If there's anyone in your life that is challenging you, turn it around. From the depths of your heart, say, I wish for you to be benefited. I'm sending you pure feelings and good wishes. Let me bless you. And by you just doing that, you are meditating. The fear has taken a back seat. Even if it's for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you're disarming the fear, and it's at least getting less. So don't expect fear to disappear just like that if you've been feeding it for decades or many lifetimes, but at least contribute to deactivating it and reducing its potency in your thoughts, in your words, in your choices. Okay? All right. I hope that helped you.
One last question about needing disinterest. In our morning classes, in our study, we hear a lot about needing disinterest in worldly things. How do you balance relationships with family and friends, but maintain disinterest? This is the last question.
Well, one of the things that I've learned in my teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, and it's one of my life quotes that you might hear me share at the end of every radio show or TV show that I do. We're here to love each other the same. And if you practice, and it has actually been said in our advanced teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, that if you can practice loving everyone in your life the same, not only will you be detached, unattached, but there will be a personality and energy in you of not allowing yourself to get trapped in certain situations or circumstances. There will be a disinterest which will be fed because of your high energy of love that you are now living from the soul outside of you. So the most important thing to develop an attitude of disinterest is to begin to work deeply within yourself to practice loving everybody the same. Everybody here who serves with me, I will treat the person who works in our yard to the person who works in the White House with the same level of respect. I will make the food in the same way, the drink in the same way, because I don't have the ego that they're less or worse than me. I know they're in a particular situation. Okay, maybe I won't invite them to dinner. I understand their situation, their lifestyle, their choices are different, but it doesn't mean that I should treat them with any less respect. So the more we can move away from the ego of the attachment of our role, name, form, religion, title, you will find that you will automatically strike a balance. And you'll be able to deal with folks, whether they're your family, your spiritual family, or your friends or your contacts, the same. You are showing up as you. And so when someone doesn't have an attachment to their roles or their titles, I can assure you, you can trust that person because you're actually having a real experience with the real person, because they're not talking to you from a place, I'm the boss, so I'm only going to talk down at you. And then when the other boss talks down at you, you're like this. You talk to everybody with the same respect and love. That means everybody who has a relationship with you is actually having a real relationship with the real you. That means you will be more at peace with yourself. Okay? So good luck with that practice, but I can guarantee it, it's going to help you. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our time is up, and
Okay.
many people will be wanting to visit a recording of this because there are so many gems, so many jewels, and it's the sort of thing we can ponder and get more answers to our questions. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making time for us, and wish you well with the book and all the other service you're doing. I would like to take a moment to tell people about the upcoming programs at Manchester Inner Space. And so thanks again, Sister Jenna.
Thank you, everyone. Please take care of yourselves and feel free to take care of each other as well. It really helps to keep you up. Thanks a lot, Ruthie. All the best for you too, in everything that you're called to do, and the way God's love and light works through you. May it just keep you so solid and also just inspire so many. So lots of love to you, sweet sister.
Thank you. Thank you for that blessing, and the same to you.
Thank you.
I would like to just share a couple of slides with you now, and this will just serve as a reminder for what we offer at Manchester Inner Space. I'll show you how to contact or visit us on the next slide, but regularly we have lunchtime meditations, we have relax more, stress less, we have managing my emotions, think more positively, understanding anger, and a 4-part Raja Yoga meditation course, which people are invited to visit again and again. If you'd like to subscribe to our mailing list, on the next slide is our website, and you can follow us on different social media. An invitation to visit Brahmakumari's environment and yogisforfuture.org for some more meditations. So thanks again, and stay safe and explore this beautiful light. And good luck on your journey too. Thank you. in the chat. We can connect with Sister Jenna at America Meditating. There'll be a recording of this on our Facebook, facebook.com/innerspacemanchester. Visit our Facebook page for the recording of the video, and Sister Jenna at www.americameditating.org. That's in the chat here. So thank you and good night.